us? Is it us? It is I and he, said the cat.
What's up?
Good evening. Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening. Welcome, welcome to another edition of what the fuck are we gonna talk about today?
Bonjour. Hola.
Lord.
Konnichiwa. I'm doing my multicultural thing.
Anywho, I have a question.
hmm
Have I ever asked you for boy advice as a kid?
No. No.
I realized that. Like I realized that today
Mm-hmm.
that I've never asked you for boy advice. Now there's a reason for that, world, why I've never, because he's a little psycho. And if I told him about somebody I was dating, I wouldn't be dating him anymore. So
They just be checked out first. I just
like,
check them out first.
that's the reason why I never did. But I just realized I had never done that. So I was like, oh, so I'm gonna ask you. I'm gonna do it first. It's the first, and everybody's gonna see it. I'm gonna ask you some brotherly advice, right? Okay. So I was talking to this gentleman, right? And the first 3 weeks we were talking, like never met in person. This is like
Online.
So yeah, online. Okay. So cool conversations, dope, smart guy, very smart, right? The conversations, whatever. I got commitment issues, so I may have like realized I liked him and then decided to ghost him for a couple days, just a couple days, till I processed the information and said, Nicole, that's not cool. And so I called him again or whatever. And so now, now I'm talking to him and he's like, you're so pretty. I really like you. You're so pretty. I really like you. And I'm like, okay, thank you. And he's like, no, you don't understand how pretty you are, how beautiful you are. I'm like, oh, okay. Okay, thank you. And it's like, oh, you're so pretty. I'm like, oh, let me guess. You really like me. Like, hey, Ashley.
So that being answered. Hey, Ashley. Over there in Cali.
Hey, I saw. You was looking good. That little outfit you had on. I saw the booty. I saw it, girl. All right, for sexy.
Ride down Swanson.
And then he was like, well, how do you feel about me? I'm like, I think you're cool. Right? And he's like, that's it? That's it. I'm like, we ain't even met. I don't know how I feel about you. I don't know anything, right?
Maybe he was trying to make, you look so handsome. Maybe that's what he expected.
I've never seen him. I don't know what he looked like.
Oh, you never seen him?
I haven't seen him in person. I've seen his picture.
Oh, okay.
I've seen his pictures. What have we ever seen is each other's pictures. Like,
Why do you video chat?
I feel like I've been looking busted as of lately.
Okay.
Like I haven't been on my A game looking right. Like it's just like I gotta work. Now I'm on my 6 weeks. I'm 6 weeks done.
But I mean, it's no excuse for people to be catfish these days because
it isn't. No, I think that is him though.
I'm just saying for.
Oh yeah, there's no excuse.
Hey, world.
There's no excuse.
I'm talking the world right now. Yeah.
But no, I've been working out. Like I've been able to work out. I've been able to do stuff. I'm in these streets again. Okay. In these streets. Okay.
In these streets?
No, not like that.
Oh, okay.
No,
I'm just trying to trying to clear shit up. That's all for the people.
No, I'm working out. Okay. I'm so excited. I'm able to work out and move again. Okay. It's very weird because I feel like the lower half of my body's not connected. Like, do a curl. And I was like, no. Yeah. They're like, do a curl. And I'm like, am I curling yet? Is it happening? So cutting your abs is like yes, but I'm trying. I've decided to start doing yoga because yoga is supposed to be like one of those enlightenment things. And I've been like, it's been really good for me. So I'm gonna continue doing that, trying to connect my lower half and my upper half, hopefully back together again. But no, I'm doing stuff, so I can't. Yeah, I'm a video chat with him though. But to me, like he's talking to me about it. He seems concerned as to why I don't give a shit about him finding me attractive, and I'm like. Men are visible, like they're physical creatures. They care about the prettiness of things and whatever. Women aren't like that. We're cerebral, like, or emotional. Like, so I'll go for emotional too, right? Yeah. But at no point is any of that physical. So we need like the same physical stimulation you need. Yeah. Well, I mean, but even if a woman's physically motivated, which I mean, they look at people
in the beginning, yeah.
They look and see they like it, but still, like as far as if you're trying to get long-term attention, you need to do more than just say people are pretty. I'm like, you know, or at least let me say, I'll speak for me. I don't know. And so I'm like, okay, well, it's annoying a little bit.
What about how beautiful?
Yes. Yes. And I feel
good morning, beautiful.
I hate it. I hate
morning,
it.
beautiful.
I
Grand
hate
rising. For the woke Grand rising queen.
Oh my god. I hate that second to like first and foremost is the grand rising and the queens and shit. I hate that. But this is like a second because it's like to me it says that all you're interested in is something physical because you're focused on the physical.
That's where it starts and ends almost.
Okay, just making sure because I'm like, man, maybe I'm wrong. You know, I don't give nobody credit. Like I just be like, because I'll have a conversation. I'm like, all right, what do you want? Sex? Is that it?
Yep.
Yeah, the first snort of the.
Yep, we did.
So like, I was like, what do you want? Sex? That's what I'll be like. What do you want? Sex? I mean, let's just put it on the table. Why not? Let's just talk about it. What's the problem? We're adults. Why can't we? You know, whatever. And he was like, no, it's not like that. Like, you know, like he's like a long-term relationship. Ooh, I'm hard to know. He's like, because I'm like, I feel like you're gonna judge me when I say the next statement. He's like, I'm a long-term relationship guy. Oh, really? And I too can be one of the people that you're in a long-term relationship with if I play my cards right. Right. And my homegirl was like, Nicole, you wrong for that.
Quit being an asshole. Quit being an asshole.
So is he R&B nigga or is this like game? Like also keep in mind he used to be a football player, like college, high school, like that kind of stuff. Well, you know, and people who've known the football players, you know, they take full advantage.
Has he been married yet?
Yes, he has. Okay. Yes, he has.
He's willing to commit. Okay. I mean, how long is he married?
Oh, 10 years, I think.
Okay. Well, I mean, the next question is probably you won't get the truth unless you know. So, you know what happened, you know, and you'll get a version of it. But
yeah, everybody has a version.
Everybody has their version.
I'm sure you talked to my ex-husband. My ex-husband thinks I'm crazy as shit, and I tried to kill somebody.
But I mean, 10 years he's able to commit.
What's killing really?
So, so I would say, I mean, maybe he wants to be married again. Maybe he wants to. Did you ask him that question?
I didn't ask him that question. He asked me that question. Okay, I don't know why people ask. Okay, I do know why. If you're serious about it, right? I feel like I'm the fuck person in a conversation, but I really ain't. I just feel like here's the thing. Asking somebody if they want to get married before you even met them, before you even,
I mean,
it's like the cart's well before the horse.
Yeah, but how long y'all been talking? You said 3 weeks?
Like a month.
A month? Now. Okay. I mean, y'all been.
Yeah, but we have private conversations. We have a guest.
We have a guest, and they're giving us private chats over here.
And he's sliding shit in, and he's silly.
But I mean, it's a month, so it's not too soon. I mean, y'all still been talking about life stuff, and you know.
So should I give him a chance? That's the question. Should I give him a chance and talk to him? Because it annoys me when he talks about. You
have to meet him first in person and see what their vibe is personal.
See, that's how I feel. Yeah. That's what I told him.
I'm saying you could talk about that stuff prior to, but I mean,
but that's what I told him.
But once y'all get together, then see what the vibe is, see what it do.
That's how I felt. That's exactly what I told him. I was like, he's like, so how do you feel about me?
Yeah. This will be my answer. Your virtue, you is cool as hell.
Yeah,
like your virtue.
I don't know if your breath stink. I don't know if you. There are deal breakers, and for me, breath is a deal breaker because I'm auditory. Is it auditory?
No.
What's the nose one?
No, auditory is hearing.
What's the nose one? It's something like a.
No, it's I don't know.
It's I'm a nose person.
Yeah. Smellatory. I don't know shit.
Olfactor. Okay.
Okay.
So my I have to, those kind of things matter to me. Like, I don't know. I need to figure these things out. I don't know if, like a height ain't really a big deal for me. It's not a deal breaker. You short guys, holler at me. Just don't keep telling me that's not.
So I'm gonna tell you my thing about the beautiful thing. I don't tell women they're beautiful, and it's a reason why. It's because I
make them feel insecure.
No, it's not. It's not that. No, what it is that I don't believe in telling people stuff that I don't believe true. And not they're not beautiful. No, that sounds like an answer. No, but the thing is that so
you was ugly.
You had nothing to do with that, right? That's genetics. That's something you had nothing to do with.
Okay,
so
that's what you meant.
Yeah, you have nothing to do with it. So the thing is, compliment somebody.
Compliment somebody on something they have something to do with.
Yeah.
That's the luck of the draw.
You're
oh God,
you're
born this way.
You know, you're born that way, so it's a luck of the draw. Okay. So you know, that's my reason.
You look nice is a nice compliment.
Nice. Yeah, you look nice.
Because you had to put that together.
Yes,
I get that.
But just being beautiful is like I said, it's luck of the draw. And everybody can't.
You sure is ugly.
You sure is ugly. What happened to your face? But I mean, yeah, you know, everybody can't be beautiful. And then if you tell them they're beautiful, then they want to, what kind of beautiful? You know, is you get into a rabbit hole. You get in a rabbit hole because like, oh, is that as beautiful as her, or this, that, the other? Oh, does she look better than me? Your last girlfriend, did she look better than me, or whatever? You know, and you get like,
you had people do that.
I mean, no, that's where it could go. I'm just saying that's where it could go. So I don't set myself up for that.
You know what I want to do, Willie? And I want to do, and we'll see if I can get people to do it. Okay. But I think it's a cool idea. Mm-hmm. I get calls, you know, because I have a circle, a tight circle of people who's cool, who's my people, and some of them are single and they're dating. Mm-hmm. So I get messages from them about stuff, and they'll ask me sometimes some dumbass shit. I'm not gonna lie to you, but I have a vagina, and therefore I cannot provide you with any insight as to what the man is thinking in that conversation. Mm-hmm. I mean, like, I feel like I sometimes feel like I am closer to male with my thinking than I am to female, right? Mm-hmm. But I would say that I would like to have them come on, or at least to read stuff to you. Mm-hmm. And let you
our first troll of the night. Okay.
To read stuff to you, like, or have them come on and ask questions and have like some guys to get some insight. Okay. I would like to do vice versa. Okay. To where they're playing off each other and have a conversation. Mm-hmm. I would like that.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So that being said, it was a nice troll because I haven't seen Shush in a minute.
Oh, I didn't put the Shush up. Yeah, let's give him a credit.
I haven't seen Shush in a minute as a nice troller. Shush. Unless they mean something else.
No, you know what? That's what.
Explain yourself. Yeah, explain yourself, Pharaoh.
Yeah, explain.
Why not? Shit, this is a discussion.
Sell a Grand Rising. You got that
Pharaoh. Oh, you're talking about the Grand Rising thing. Are you talking about that? I don't like Grand Rising. I'm so sorry. I respect people who do.
Grand Rising Queen.
I respect Grand Rising, but for now, while I let you put the comments in, we'll get to that. I want to introduce somebody. One in this discussion we're gonna have is about generational wealth. Mm-hmm. And I had a really interesting conversation with this gentleman. He's not new to the show. Mm-hmm. So I want to make sure I preface that, like, dopest person I've ever met, like, in a very long time, as far as strangers are concerned. Authentic, right? And I say, as people, I always talk to people, be it white or black or whatever the case may be, about how to be their best selves, is just to be authentic to themselves, and really authentically weigh out whether or not you mean good to the universe, mm-hmm. or you're taken away from the universe, and just be real about where you stand. But this gentleman is very much so a great conversation piece. He's talking about the sorry. All right, well, let's bring on Ray first off, because he's and he can join this conversation because he ain't shit either.
Dude, this is my sister.
He's talking about that conversation we had about the guy. I'm assuming he or she. If not, this is my brother. Yeah. We've not been together.
There's
absolutely
no
not.
Bullshit here.
Ain't none of that shit happening.
We ain't from Florida, and we're the wrong color. Okay, so.
But if you're talking about the guy I was talking to, I've been talking to him on the phone. We haven't met in person for like a few weeks. But if you're talking about him, that's my brother. All right, let's bring Ray on. Salty. All right. Actually, Ray's from a place where that's normal.
Yeah, where you from? Hold on, where you from? Where you
First
from?
off, bullshit.
Yeah, he thought.
Oh, he thought it was us. No, that's my brother. No.
Okay. Let me. I appreciate that we look cute together, but it's because we spent a whole life together.
That's because we look alike.
Yeah, we spent the whole life together. So,
huh?
Because y'all share genes.
Yeah, we share genes, and
not
like.
I think you should scoot in, Willie.
No, I'm on.
Okay. Okay, good. All right, good.
See?
Look at technology.
I got this right here. I got this.
So, Ray, used to be a Georgia. Oh shit! Ray's gonna like that comment. Ray, check your comments.
Oh damn! Damn! What the hell? So, that went along with the hoop earring thing. Right before we came live, right? It was something he told us about the hoop earrings because she got big hoop earrings, and he thought I knew what that meant. Like the bigger the hoop, the bigger. I didn't understand that. So the bigger the hoop. Go ahead.
Promiscuity.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
He said the bigger the hoop, the bigger the hole. Why I gotta be the one that said
the bigger the hole.
So now we got the longer the beard, the longer the
ding dong.
You swing it.
Yes. The longer big low.
Hey, stereotypes.
Yeah.
So one of the things we were talking about, and Ray had this conversation with me. He moved from Georgia. He lives up in Las Vegas, and I'll let you tell me. Tell him. I'm gonna remind you just because I guess I'm gonna have to tell it because then it'd be like, what the fuck the point if I'm gonna remind you and say it. He had this conversation with me about his purpose, the purpose being on this earth, the purpose of having a job. Like, because he could do real estate. Real estate is booming right now. You can sell stuff to people. You remember that conversation?
Yeah.
You want to take it over?
Sure.
Okay, because if I do, it ain't gonna sound eloquent. It's gonna be like, I helps people.
Like I went through multiple avenues of education when it comes to real estate. Actually passed state and national exams for being a real estate agent, but also with mortgage lending. So when I originally did the agent aspect, I was living in Hawaii at the time. I had just recently retired from the Army. I was a medic, combat medic specifically in the Army. And I genuinely just like to help people. I mean, if you're going to be a medic, you might want to be able to enjoy helping people. And I thought that real estate would be a good avenue of getting into that same capacity because I'm helping people get into their, lively situations and whatnot to keep it from going down that rabbit hole. But when I went through the school and everything and the way they talked about the marketing and all of that type of stuff, you can make a lot of money in the real estate world, but ethically it didn't sit well with me because my perspective on it was I would be taking Willie or, Nicole, and I'd be taking you and financing your debt with my commission. And when you're taking a commission on something, to me, it was important to think about the capacity of which the person has to pay. So that person's going to be paying my, 3% to 6% for 30 years.
Compounded.
Exactly. Compounded. So if I'm getting 3% on a $600,000 home, that's $18,000 compounded that my friend or family, I literally just financed them into debt. And not to get biblical, but when you think about biblical, it says, the debtor is the slave to, the whole process. So it's like, I don't want to create that for my network of people that I care about. So ethically, it just didn't sit well with me. And I actually continued to work in the nonprofit space for about 5 years and recently just retired from that aspect and segued into insurance. With that, the reasoning behind why I'm comfortable with insurance is because now I'm providing a service and product to individuals that actually helps them out while I get a commission. So now I can ethically receive funds for helping somebody and not have that, what I call the pillow test, what keeps me awake at night. So that's just kind of like how it worked for me. Now, is there a service needed for real estate? Yes. Are there people that don't want to do it themselves? Yes. I get it. I understand it. But you have to fall on your own sword, wherever it may be. It was just my own thing, and that's the way I moved. So with that, I'm in insurance now. And because of that, I jokingly told Nicole I'm learning old white people shit when it comes to fucking how money works.
And we want to know old white people shit.
Because, you know, after previous, last time I was on here, I had spoke on, privilege only goes so far when it comes to certain aspects, because you can still be economically impoverished and still have white privilege. Mm-hmm. But there's a whole nother level to the white privilege when you have the economics behind it. Mm-hmm. It's like, oh shit, like I got the whole pie, So I'm learning the other side of the pie, so to speak. And as I'm learning a lot of these other things, I've had conversations with Nicole over the last year on some of this stuff. And it wasn't until like last month that some of this really started making your eyebrows even raise. Like, what?
Yeah, no.
So, yeah.
It made it raise because of how you're doing it, Ray, though. My eyebrows raised because, like, it's one thing. Because me personally, ethically, I have no problem with supplying people with homes ethically for me. But also, I am also somebody, but you know where my ethics stop at? Because I don't believe in getting people stuff that they can't afford.
Yeah.
So I'll be the realtor that's not making much sales because of that reason.
You can't afford that.
Yes. I'm like, have you thought about this? What happens if you need to replace this? What happens if you do this? Right. And so even with my friends, like I had a situation recently with one of my friends who bought a house, and I had to remind myself that everybody needs to experience their own situation. So mind your fucking business. I really was chanting that. I think Ray was like,
shut up in your head. Shut up. Don't say
it. That was an exact phrase.
Yeah. I was like around Ray. So I get it. And and Ray said it, but I'm just making it real plain for the people who need plain speak. How you sleep at night and what works for you and how you could do it, because some people buy into the system. They buy into the system of debt. They buy into the system
of the American dream.
The American dream. And so that's fine. That's you. I respect Ray because Ray could have been making way more money. Okay, way more money. Like, we'll be down somewhere and somebody will see him, just see the beer and be like, hey, and they go up and talk to him. He's personable, to say the least. Like, I'm antisocial when you see me out in the street.
This happened last month with Magic Johnson, literally.
Yes.
I met Magic Johnson last month because in the middle of 5,000 people, he was like, everything stopped. He's on stage in front of 5,000 people, and he's like, everybody stop. I need to get a picture with that beard. And then gets off stage and walks down in the middle of this place, and we're taking selfies in front of 5,000 people.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. So it's like he could do it. Mm-hmm. He could use his powers for evil. Yeah. He chooses not to. Okay. And I respect that.
And that's with having control of yourself, having control of being a good person and everything,
It's your purpose. That's what I'm going to say. Discipline. I don't even think it's discipline. Yes, discipline comes into play, but also it's authenticity. Mm-hmm. It's about about being a part of the world that gives, or being the part of the world that takes. Mm-hmm. And once you choose a side, you gotta take your energy that is gonna come from it. So, the thing I liked I watched him do his first insurance claim with somebody, and look, there's the picture.
Okay.
He's such a fan. Well, fangirl out.
I've been a Magic fan, and
I've been a Magic fan too, so I understand that. I've been a Magic before and after.
I wore 32 in high school. I mean, come on.
See how I refrained? And
I just had to.
You chose to. See how I refrained to tell a joke? Yeah, you chose violence. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Although I don't regret it. Yeah, that was good.
I've been a fan forever. I mean, after the HIV, he's a great businessman.
He's a great businessman.
He's a great businessman. Before I loved him as far as the basketball aspect, and after the fact, in the business.
I'm not gonna give smoke to it. I'm not gonna give smoke to Magic, but I did think it. I ain't gonna lie. But I watched him do his first policy, and it was like a dope experience, because what he did was, whereas most people who sell insurance would be like, what you need is this, the premium package, because once he gets his sale, That's it. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, he gets his money off rip. What Ray did was say, what do you need? Mm-hmm. What would you want to use this for? Where do you want this money to go? How do you want to do this? And the discussion, that's when the discussion came up of generational wealth, because I hate that term.
Why? What you got against money?
I
Being passed down to...
I have the problem with the terminology, because people bastardize the terminology to use it to make people get more in debt.
Yeah, okay, yeah, they use it. Okay, gotcha. Yeah, and they do. They use it for power. Yeah, they weaponize it.
Yes, they and it's a horrible situation. But this conversation was actually generational wealth happening at its best. What are you looking at? And this woman he was talking to, there was nothing in it for her. This is trying to set up something for her future. Yeah. This is trying to set up so she's not dead and anybody, you have to GoFundMe something for that. Like, she's trying to take care of stuff so her family's not at a deficit.
Sell fish plates and stuff.
Yes. I mean, nobody likes a sad fish plate.
You know how many fish plates I've had to
buy? I'm glad I'm sorry he died, but it's good as hell. That's some good ass fish. Second snore.
Pass me that tartar sauce. What'd you season this with? Okay?
Ain't no bones in this thing, too.
That is hilarious.
And potato salad.
So I would like to use, we're going to use me and Willie for an example. We're two different dynamics. Like, I'm a single person, and Willie has a family. He has two. He's a grandfather. He old as shit.
Oh, Jesus.
Yes. He's a grandfather times two.
Times two. Yes.
Like, so he old as shit. So we would use different scenarios. Did I say he was old as shit? Okay, just making sure y'all know he's old as shit. And using two different dynamics, right? And we're gonna talk it through, and then because I know the calculations take time and whatever, but I want to talk it through with you.
Yeah, just estimate it. Just throw estimates.
So I got to be very clear that any numbers, there are laws and let's say ethics and practices that go into when you discuss, especially in open forums, i.e. podcasts. Everything that I'm talking about is an illustration and is only a representation of a quote unquote a what if. There's not exacts. Every single person numbers are going to be astronomically different.
Well, I don't have the thing, what you call them, but I can put this up.
Right.
That's the only thing I got here.
Me even saying that is going to be well enough to go along with that, because I mean you literally have like these pamphlets and books, and it's like all of the small print that goes along the bottoms is like, look, we're showing you what could be.
Yeah, what could happen.
Your situation is going to be different based on so many different factors. So I can definitely speak to situations, and I can also speak on situations that have already happened, especially like with the young lady that just closed on that policy. She literally closed this week, which was really cool. I was excited for her. Because,
I'm going to ask people before we get started to share this out to people, because this is the conversations, and I'm not saying it because we're doing this conversation, but to me, these are the conversations that need to be had when you talk about generational wealth, because we're actually talking about how
specifics.
We're talking about specifics that are actionable steps that will not get you in debt, which like that to me matters. And it also like there are 3 people who died recently. Unfortunately, 2 of them were murdered. That I know. We know. And
condolences, Mama. I'm doing it live since I didn't do it on the text. That's a whole story. Anyway, go ahead, keep going.
You see how I'm trying to be serious and he won't let me be great?
Keep going.
You see? Now I gotta tell him what happened. Let me tell you about my shitty brother. Okay, so y'all don't think we're horrible human beings. So this is what happened. We have a cousin. You know how you have a grandparent? Yeah. You have how your mama, everybody mama, in the black, brown, blue, and purple. Everybody mama has like mentions to somebody, oh, you remember cousin so-and-so, and it's like never met in life, ever in life, right? So my mom sent that message, but my mom sent that message very topically, right? So it wasn't like cousin John died.
Yeah.
It was like, oh, my grandfather, my daddy's brother's child, son. And I'm like, what? You mean our cousin? Like, you got me doing mental math. relationship math to figure this out and whatever. So the way the story was told in a manner.
The life was taken from him too soon or something like that.
And while that is sad, but it was told from a manner, the way my mom said it was like she wasn't touched to it.
Yeah, it was totally far away, like arm's length. I'm gonna put this up here, but she keep on the story. I'm gonna keep going. But I'm gonna put this up here because it's funny as shit. Okay, go ahead.
Oh my god. Go ahead. So my sister, she's like condolences and whatever, right? And I go, I was like, I didn't say, nobody else said anything.
We didn't say that. My sister.
So my mom lit us up like
the youngest one, which stays in the same house with her, can say, Mama,
she know.
Mama, I'm sorry that happened. Yes. Did that, but she said it on text.
She said it via text, and that mattered to Mama and made us look like pieces of shit. So now she's like, "Well, thank you, one of my 4 children, to tell me condolences, whatever." And I'm like, "Yo, Mama, like you don't get to tell us how we grieve and how we send stuff, and yeah." And then this fool, he decides to take it even further.
No, because you asked the name, and she came back 4 hours later. Because trust me, the name is a wild name. It's a long name. She could not have spelled that name. First of all,
had to look it up.
So she had to look it up and talk to somebody else. So 4 hours later, she come back with the person's name, who our cousin is, and the son's name. And then, so go ahead.
Which doesn't mean she didn't know the name. She just didn't know how to spell it. But she had something to prove. That's why she took so long. So it was a whole thing. That's why we're assholes right now laughing about it. But what happened to him was not funny. It's just the fact that my mom was mad at us because we didn't do right by her and give her our condolences. So that's the whole point of this. But we still are assholes. Make no mistakes. Did you put it on?
What?
The comment?
Yeah, I put that comment up there.
Did you see the comment, Ray?
First off, I could probably bench press him in one in each hand.
You got another comment. Look at the comment. The final one. So, with both of those situations and the third situation happened, and it was very abrupt. Somebody died of meningitis. It was a very abrupt situation. This is a situation. I mean, even with COVID, all of this is like just saying like the importance of having insurance, the importance of doing this stuff, the importance of not being a burden to your family. Like, because when this happened, the one with meningitis, all 3 happened abruptly. 2 were murders. All of them happened abruptly. And this person your family is grieving this loss.
And now they got
to come up with funds. And now they got to figure out what they're going to do. Now they got to do, all these things. And it would be lovely. And I'm not saying, like I said, generational wealth starts with having some money to begin with. But to start and seed the ground so you can have something come from it. But if you can't afford something, then this is the discussion that we want to have. And so that's why I'm going to say to you, Ray, I'm talking from a standpoint of I'm a single woman. I have absolutely no children except the cats, which Willie are going to get in the event of my death.
Oh, hell no. Hell no.
And nobody thought you were rude.
No. We ain't think you were rude.
This is with the shits. You can't tell. Yeah. Ain't nobody. There's no rude here. We are with the shits. I feel like personally, I'm a teacher. I'm somebody who loved Clark Howard.
Yeah, I like
Clark Howard's dope. I've always been like somebody who's stressed how the importance of saving financial money, like saving money is the word I want to say. And when I actually spoke with Clark Howard, and he was like, "You don't need life insurance." He's like, "You don't need a life insurance." He's like, "You don't have anybody to come from there. Like, there's nobody who's going to be coming behind you. As long as you can get the money for the funeral expenses and whatnot." So coming from this situation, Ray, what would you say to somebody like this, like me?
So for a single woman's aspect that has no kids, I like to do something that I call, so the industry says, hey, as an agent that wants to maximize their potential, and when they talk about potential, they're always talking about income, capabilities and so forth. you run this method called DIME. So you want to know how much debt they have, what their current income is, any and all mortgage aspects that they have, and also educational aspects. So like for you, educationally, you don't have to worry about any future generations of education. Willie already has how many educations generationally that you have to consider? So you see what I mean? So now let's just say, that's $500,000, right? Now the insurance world would say, hey, Willie, we want you to take the burden of all of that, because who else is going to do it, Willie?
Nobody else.
Who else is going to be responsible enough to do this?
And maybe they will be responsible enough to do it, but I
don't trust people.
Well, but that's even if you don't trust people, let me say maybe they will be responsible enough to do it. But what's better than $1?
Yeah, it's multiples.
Yeah, the more you can get, the more you can put towards that, the more you can set yourself. Because we're talking about the whole point is generational wealth. It's not just it's not looking out for you. In fact, generational wealth implies it's not you. It's not this generation you're working on.
It's the next generation.
Correct.
Yes.
So with that being said, I kind of adopted. I'll take what they call the DIME method, and then I'll say, okay, we're going to run the industry standard. So this is the industry standard. However, standards are not normal in the real world. Just because it's standard for the insurance world, neither one of you revolve around the insurance world. So what is real for you? And that's why I ask, and what you got to witness was, what do you want insurance for? And what do you want it to do? And then I take an inventory off of that, and then I blend the two of them and then show them what it can do with what you want it to do. And then I let people make informed decisions. Yeah. Because a lot of times, from my experience, people are like, well, I just want to be able to bury myself. Okay, cool. Are you aware of these other things that are possible? And then once they're aware of those other items, then they make more informed decisions that may or may not only cost a couple extra dollars or actually be cheaper because they didn't know. So rather than just going down the DIME method and maxing out my commission, what do you want? And then go from there.
Great. So, can you give me your contact information and put it in your email address and put it in the comments, the private chat? And that way we can put that in too.
Yeah, sure. Give me a moment to address this, and then I'll type that in there. Go ahead. But from there.
And Farrell, we're going to get to your questions.
We're gonna get questions.
All the questions we'll get to at a later point.
Yeah.
I had issues. I had a little technical issues.
What I just did with the individual that you saw, she's let's just say that she's north of 50 years old, has no kids, has no grandkids, never been married, and she's like, look, in her exact phrase was, I don't want to be the GoFundMe person. She just had a family member pass, and they're doing the GoFundMe route, and she's like, I respect my family more than that. So I ran both of those methods, the DIME method, and then what I actually call a personal inventory. So I ran the personal inventory, I did the DIME method, and then it's like, okay, let's educate you on what's possible. And then once she was aware of some other aspects, she's like, yo, so I could do all of these other things. And for $100 a month, she got like $50,000 worth of coverage when all she wanted was $25,000 originally. But then from there, I got her into a cash value building system. And then I got her hooked up with a rider, which is basically like an accessory at no additional cost.
I'm going to say what those words are, though. Let me say what those words, because he tries to explain it to me. I'm like, I ain't got time. Look, this is what he's saying. For people who expect to, like, who trying to hedge their bets and die and may die soon and they're not ready to die kind of thing, there's that, right? You could get the money for that, which is the $50,000 to help bury your ass. And then there's some little more money so you go to strip club and turn up. Don't do that. Generational wealth. Go do some other stuff with it. Try to build your future. Or there's other things you can do where you can take that money, use it for, and take the rest of the money and say, I want to fund my insurance. I have to and stop me, raise your hand if I say it wrong, because you're using big words and ain't nobody got the education level to do that. I'm done with school. That's what I decided. So I'm gonna take the money and I'm gonna put it towards my own life insurance policy. If that person dies, or if the person doesn't die within a certain amount of time, their money actually, like, they put in a certain amount of money. Let's say they put in, for the math, $100 a month, which makes it $1,200 a year, right? And so over the course of a certain amount of years, once you go 1-to-1. So if you want, you come under dire circumstances, people getting old sucks, that kind of shit, you can get the money out and actually get more money out after a certain amount of time, or at least you can get more money out after a certain amount of time. So it becomes like a savings account. Is that fair?
An example of that would be individuals who come into large sums of money, lawsuits, after a car accident, or they inherited something. I'm watching people who are taking large sums of money and they're putting in this system, which has compounding interest, and then let's just say $1 million type of situation, and now they're having $60,000 a year tax free
to live off
that they can live off of, and if they needed to, they could also still gain access to that $1 million. So it's just like, imagine parking money in a life insurance tool that's yielding and paying you an annual percentage based off of that amount. Now that's like the 1,000-yard view from up. There's a lot of other little steps that go into it and a lot of other paperwork that goes into it, but that is the overview kind of aspect. The aspect that she was speaking on as far as being able to access it now, specifically, this really affects Willie more than it affects Nicole.
My single parent ass.
No, had nothing to do with that. This actually has to do with.
I definitely had nothing to do with that, because
we'll say it like this: traditional aspect of without being quote unquote PC and all the other kind of stuff, gender biased. Men throughout history of the United States, and when it comes to specifically with insurance, what does insurance do for men? Nothing.
Yeah,
personally, it does nothing for you. You have to die for it to work.
Yeah.
So what does it do for you, Willie? It gives you peace of mind to know that your family isn't going to have to, turn to other types of lifestyles to be able to get money.
Yeah. The corner.
And make sure that nobody wants to be on OnlyFans just after the husband dies. I mean, it is what it is. So there you go. Right. Like I'm over here crying and I'm saying goodbye. No, you don't want to do that. So, and I think that's higher than I can get mine. Shit, Sparrow, I can't get that, man.
He was a good man. He was a good man.
He did everything he could do, so I got to do this for him.
I kicked the table.
I just had hip surgery. But as an example, I recently just met another agent that works with the same company that I work with, and her situation was like, wow. So she, insurance is one of those worlds where you do get high on your own supply. She actually purchased $1 million policy on herself. Now, for a lot of people, that's not realistic. So don't listen to the number as much as the concept of what I'm talking about. She purchased $1 million policy on herself, at which time she's like the uber raw vegan person who's never smoked, never probably breathed in, pollution, and only drinks, the most distilled waters of, the Himalayan mountains type of. That's who she is.
The North Ice.
You walk in drinking a soda and she knows all of the components about why you shouldn't be drinking it and the chemical backgrounds of it.
Does she know how to mind her business?
Unfortunately, probably not.
No. So with that being said, about a year after she had actually bought this policy, she unfortunately got diagnosed with stage 4 lung cancer.
Oh,
which is like, you've literally avoided all fun in life and still got hit with this. like, dang, that sucks. But with that being said, she, if she's buying a $1 million policy, she can obviously afford to have, some good health insurance also. But health insurance isn't covering everything when it comes to like stage 4 lung cancer. And unfortunately, your monetary means can also dictate the type of care and access of care that you get. She actually filed the claim on her $1 million policy, and within like 2 weeks or something, she had a one lump sum of $1 million paid to her. And then she was able to take, and again, that's tax free because life insurance is tax free.
Mhm.
She then was able to utilize said funds to offset her her health insurance, gain other access. She was given less than a year to live 4 years ago.
Mhm.
So
She balling
this
out.
is her situation, which is not standard and doesn't, whatever. But at the same time, she was able to extend her life with that because of that situation. Y'all just disappeared off of my screen, by the way. I don't know where y'all are. If you're still there, I'm about to text you to make sure you're there or not. So I was told everybody can still see me and hear me, and to go ahead and keep on. With that being said, hey everybody again. So from there, you got to think about from the dime method. You're talking about how much debt you have, income, mortgages, education, all of those other things go into effect. But what a lot of people really care about, from what I've been able to see through the conversations that I've been having face to face with everyone, is more along the lines of what it's going to cost to actually bury me. And those costs can range from $5, $10, $15, $25,000, depending upon what an individual is wanting to do. And it's very easy to afford these type of options, but most people just don't have the right source. They don't have a source that they can trust, and they just don't know where to go to get what they're looking for. And then once you do have an avenue, again, do I trust the person that's sitting in front of me? So from there, it's very simple. It's literally just, it's probably about an hour long consultation, which is free to begin with. I know myself, I'm licensed in a couple of different states. Whenever I find somebody that is in a state that I'm not licensed in, I will still do illustrations for them. And if they want to, they can wait Nicole says talk. They can wait a week or two, however long it takes their state to let me get a license, and then I can, get them taken care of. But it really is very simple. But most people they really don't like talking about the death conversation, and they really don't like talking about their current finances and what they can afford and what they can't afford, and having that comfortability and having the ability to speak on that with somebody that they know cares. So I help people out. I think they're trying to get logged back in on their end. If y'all have any other questions, y'all can hit them in the over here. I know Pharaoh had a couple outside of plundering a boat. And I'm going to find that question real quick. Issues property these days, you find it very difficult to get into expensive startup costs. Yeah, that's definitely true with real estate. It can be expensive to get involved in. Don't have the. So were you talking about property journey, Pharaoh? Or are you talking about properly? Or if anybody has any other questions, they can, by all means, you can ask as well. All right. So I'll go ahead and expand on the living benefits aspect. The living benefits is the ability to access your death benefit prior to dying. For what I was talking about with Willie, the aspect of traditional insurance, it only pays out once somebody has passed away, unfortunately. And then that death benefit is then given to the individuals that they left as beneficiaries. So, husband and wife have a policy, husband passes away, the wife gets the policy or the death benefit because he made her the beneficiary. When it comes to that, hey, there's a face.
We are being real hood right now while we're getting our technical difficulties situated, but keep going.
I don't know if you could even see me or hear me when I was talking or not.
No.
But what I was speaking on with Willie was, traditionally from the old school perspective on, what does insurance do for men? It really doesn't do anything. We buy it and then we keep, spouses off of the street, so to speak, or whatever that we were joking about.
Oh, sorry.
But in this capacity, Willie could actually get an insurance policy that honestly helps him. So, you get hit with a diagnosis and or you even get hit with a catastrophic event, i.e., car accident that has life-changing criteria. Now, don't get me wrong. There's pages when it comes into these criteria to read, the fine print, so to speak. Like, you have to have certain levels of injury. You can't just stub your toe and be like, hey, let me get my death benefit, because I lost a finger. Like, it doesn't work like that. There's certain criteria that has to, get into. But that's just the living benefits aspect. I was able to include that in the other lady that we were speaking on earlier. I was able to include that into her policy because unfortunately she has some people in her family that pass away from diagnoses that do qualify. So she's like, wait a minute, I have some of these other things in my family history. I'm not suffering from them now, but just in case, $50K would help me be able to set up some things so that way other people within my family can actually be taken care of. And that comes into that generational wealth concept. People that do overuse it, they always tie it to money, and they never actually tie it to the actual aspect of wealth. Wealth isn't just money. Rich is money. Wealth is much deeper than cash. Wealth is a establishment of a process that is in perpetuity that can take a long time to mess up. The other aspect that a lot of people don't get involved in, and they kind of back away from this industry when it comes to being quote unquote customer of it, is because they're not the ones that benefit from it. And they're the ones that don't see it. But in my experience, especially since social media has become a thing, who do you see speaking on it? The people who didn't get it. So do you want to change it? Or do you want to just pass on now you're allowed to speak on it because I didn't do anything about it? I got a friend of mine that works in the credit repair industry, and I have seen him say this so many times. And it's, like an individual is in the process of trying to buy a house right now, and they need their credit repaired right now. But in the reality of things, people took 7 to 10 years to really fuck their credit up. It takes time to fix what you messed up. So if you took 7 to 10 years to mess your credit up, it's going to take you a couple years to fix it also in the grand scheme of things for a permanent fix. Can you work some numbers and get in there and finagle the system? Yeah, but you didn't fix the problem.
Yeah.
So when it comes to generational wealth as a concept, if it took generations to get you where you are in a unwealthy capacity, how long do you think it's going to take for you to fix your bloodline's generational wealth aspect?
Generations.
Yes.
Right. So it takes generations of these habits and teaching and passing them down. So a lot of people are not wanting to hear, or they want to hear.
They just don't
but
want to
they're
do
not.
the work.
They want
They
to
don't
hear
want
the
to go
easy
through the
fix.
work.
They want an easy fix to a problem.
Right. They want the benefit of the generational wealth. And I'm able to show another way of doing that by being creative and not necessarily finagling the system, but from learning from watching other people. And, the quick fix I found in a phrase called insurability of interest. The concept of insurability interest is, and I'm having this conversation with my parents literally right now, is, for all intents and purposes, my dad recently just retired from the military also. We don't come from, don't get me wrong, I have some family that has pretty good money, but I didn't necessarily align very well with them as I was growing up, if you know what I mean. So I didn't have the benefit from that. I might have got a present every 2 or 3 years that was like, wow, this is cool. But outside of that, I got a phone call.
Is this name brand?
Yeah, exactly. What? This got the Nike swoosh that's not off centered.
It's not backwards. It's not backwards like you see on Mexican trucks.
Right. So with that being said, insurability of interest is a conversation that I'm literally having with my family and close relatives, because I can rely on my parents to do the right thing, because again, they're not going to benefit from them doing it. But how about the concept that I'm actually having the conversation with them of like, look, let me buy it. Now they have to sign off on it, but I'm like, look, I want to buy X amount of insurance on you and you. And whichever one of y'all unfortunately passes first, I'm going to take the funds from that, wipe the debt clear, so the residual parent that's left alive doesn't have to worry about bills outside of their mortgage.
Outside of whatever they got.
Yeah, because like my parents are at an age right now where I would have to spend thousands of dollars to get that kind of like, so that I could pay off houses and stuff. But I mean, for, I think it's $125 on one parent, I'm getting $115,000 worth of insurance. $115,000, one lump sum, tax free. I can pretty much basically eliminate everything outside of their mortgage, and then I'll probably have about $30,000 to $40,000 left over that I can then take and put in the retirement aspect and fund my retirement.
Yeah.
So it's like, look, let me use you to pay for this, rather than you paying to do it for me.
Yeah.
You live your best life and let me pay for the breaking my own generational wealth aspect.
Correct.
And then I'm going to maintain the same policy on the other parent as well. And then same thing. Once that parent unfortunately passes, take that and move that to the retirement aspect of these compounding interest tools. And then now I'll have $150,000 starting off in this thing at the age of 40.
Okay.
Which is a lot better than most people who've been saving up from the time they were 18 to begin with.
Yeah.
It is a little bit of a loophole, but it's not unheard of, and it's also historical. There have been a lot of wealthily prominent people who got their money in this capacity and then took that money and then started other businesses and started other ventures and then became very well-known type of aspects. One of them specifically, the Rothschilds.
Just to let the audience know, how long is it before you can collect on insurance? Like, well, how long do you have to be insured before they, your family can collect?
So if you started a policy today
Mhm.
and it went into effect today
Mhm.
and you paid your premium today, let me give you two versions. You paid your premium today. Let's call your monthly payment. You paid it today.
Okay.
And you're on your way home from work tomorrow and get in a car accident and die, you're getting the full benefit.
Okay. Is that both whole and term, or?
Those are
I can only speak on what I'm dealing with.
Okay.
But in both capacities, yes.
Okay. All right, cool.
That's term, that's whole. And I specifically don't like whole. I like IUL. And IUL is something that most people are like, what?
Yeah.
Because like the company I'm working with is 173 years old. So in 173 years, they created a new product about 20 years ago. So in the grand scheme of things, this is still a new product in the insurance world. An IUL is an indexed universal life policy.
Okay.
It's similar to whole, but with whole, when you have a whole capacity, your values can fluctuate up and down. Your money is in the market. So if you had a whole policy March of 2020, and Nicole's heard me give this example before, but Willie, if you had $100,000 in a 401k or a whole policy back in March of 2020, and then the market dipped 30%, you now have $70,000.
Yeah.
You did nothing wrong, but you just took 30% of your nest egg, just got punched in the face, and you did nothing wrong. But then you're going to have the people who don't pay attention to the details that are like, yeah, but the market corrected. Yes, it did. However, you did not make $30,000 back. Yeah. You made 30% on 70 grand.
70,000. Yeah.
Right. So now you got 91,000, which is 9% off of your retirement. 9% is a huge aspect when you think about what you're using it for. 9% off of my Popeyes bill isn't that big of a deal.
And you were talking
however,
about the rest of your
9%
life.
off your the income that's going to fund the rest of your life. Correct. That's a huge impact. So now you have 91 grand and the market's corrected, yet you did nothing wrong. With an IUL, you're buying insurance, but then you're taking your money, putting it in a savings account with the insurance company, who then gets to do what they want to do with it. But you have a contract with them that says, hey, look, when the index that I choose to follow, whether it be S&P 500 or, there's multiples to choose from. Mm-hmm. But when you want the index that you choose to mirror, and that's the important word, is mirror. Your money is not in the market, but on the anniversary of your policy, if based on the contract, if you're at, let's just say 6%, and the S&P 500 did 8%, you're going to get paid 6% on whatever cash value you have. So if you had 100 grand in there, and then they performed at 8%, and your contract is for 6, you're going to get $6,000 added to your 100K.
Okay.
Now next year, let's say you
more than the market.
Right. So now let's say next year, you didn't add no more money to the cash value. However, you still have $106,000 in for the cash value, and on the anniversary, you would get 6% on the 106.
Okay.
So it's compounding interest. Okay. With this being said, people are like, well, why do this and not do whole, or why not do this and why do the 401k? Yep. Well, when the market dipped, let me give you the IUL example. When you had 100 grand in an IUL, and the market took a 4% drop on the anniversary of your roll, you still have 100 grand in cash value. Basically, you're like, hey, look, this was a bad year. We're not taking any money from you, but we're not giving you any money either. The industry calls this a floor and a ceiling. So they're promising you a ceiling of X, and then they're promising you a floor of X. And typically, the terminology they use is zero is your hero. I disagree with that terminology, because at no time does making no money a good thing.
No, it's not.
But the concept of not losing any money is an amazing thing. Mm-hmm. So you get a floor and you get a ceiling, and you get that in contract. So a lot of companies, you have to look at the strength of that company based on like if they were to pay off all of their policies right now, how much money would they still have if they would have? You know what I mean? So company I'm working with, they could pay off every policy they have and they'd still have like $2 billion left over. So they're not concerned about those aspects.
So yeah.
Right. So it's a really unique opportunity that people can utilize to change their lives and also the generations behind them, but in the capacity of wealth, not money. You, Willie, could actually go in and take, say, all right, you know what? I'm going to do insurability interest, pull a policy out on somebody else, and then I'm going to take, whenever that policy matures, that person dies, that's all the same terminology. Whenever that happens, I'm going to wipe the debt away, and then I'm going to take $5,000 and I'm going to dump it on each grandchild. And I'm going to set up their own IUL for them. So that way at the age of 3, they're starting off with $5,000. And by the age of 20, they have, 50, 100, 250, whatever the concept may be within that contract. And every contract is different. But how did you make the change to your own world and also to the generations in front of you? So this is kind of like what I've been doing with it and what I've been, playing around with it and the aspects of it. The other thing that I get a lot of like pushback on is the concept of, well, there's a lot of fees. And I would rather just do a 401k and run the risk. With a 401k, you get one thing. You get the aspect of retirement possibilities. So if let's just say you did absolutely amazing and you were able to turn your 401k into $1 million situation and you're living off $60,000. When you died, your 401k gets left to somebody. They get that. And however you wanted to part it up. In the insurance world, the law is very strict on the fact that you cannot have more cash value than death benefit. So, example, somebody has a $50,000 policy, but now all of a sudden their cash value is now creeping up and starts to surpass. They will actually mirror each other as they rise. So yes, your fees will rise, but that's because your cash value is actually accumulating drastically.
Okay.
So now you can end up with a capacity of now, I've got $1 million cash value. Well, that means you're also going to have $1 million death benefit. And now when you pass, your estate value is $2 million. Now you're leaving $1 million of death benefit to however and whoever you want it to go out. Plus, you are also now leaving your cash value and parting that up. So now you're able to do twice as much with the same concept versus the person who's like, I only want to get term, or I only want to get whole, or I only want to do a 401k.
Okay, so in the situation where the one you showed me, just I
was correcting something I said, but go ahead.
In the situation you was telling me about the woman and the $50,000, right? Her cash value as it gets towards 50,000, she still has the $50,000 death benefit. Is that what you're saying?
Yes. So
okay.
For
every month she puts money.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, so her example, so she's in the lower 50s. When she gets into about her mid 70s, her cash value is going to start exceeding her death benefit value. And now they're actually both going to start rising at the same time.
All right, let me say this for the other peoples like me. All right, what he's saying is every month she's paying $50 a month. At some point, her paying this $50,000 a month is going to get to $70,000, and she's still paying towards it. Her death benefits are going to rise with that. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Look,
by law, death benefit cannot exceed, or I'm sorry. By law, cash value cannot exceed death benefit value. Because you would literally have people who, win the lottery for whatever and then dump $10 million in there and have a $50,000 death benefit. That's illegal.
Oh, so what would they have to do?
So, example, I'm aware of one person.
Gradually growing up to $1 million is one thing, but if you get a lump sum and you're like, I'm about to make this 10 million.
So I'm aware of somebody's situation that I can speak on what they're doing is they're expecting a couple $100,000 from a car accident situation. And what they're going to do is they're going to take 200 grand and they're going to give it to the insurance company, right? Now, the insurance company is going to take it and they're going to put it in its own version of a savings account, which you really don't have access to. At which time that account by itself is also going to earn its own interest rate, greater than what a normal bank account would do. But then annually, they're going to deposit $25,000 into the IUL, at which time they'll have, $25,000 worth of coverage like the first year. And then the cash value will probably be about 23 grand approximate. So now you got 23 in cash value and you got slightly above 25,000 in death benefit. Okay. Now you're powering through, it was what they kind of like call this aspect. So on the next year, they're going to deposit $25,000 more, at which time the death benefit has to go up. The cash value is going to go up. And by dumping it all in, it's structured that way so that a way the insurance gets maximized and so that your cash value gets maximized.
So, Willie, when you think about insurance, which sister are you going to leave the money to? No, the real question is.
I was about to say.
The real question
would be the ones that have kids, because.
Oh no! All right, Willie, you just like your father.
I'm sorry.
Just because I ain't dropped no babies.
I'm sorry.
So the real question is, what would be? I'm gonna play old person, right? Because the old people are like
old behind me. You're right after me.
Yeah, but I want you to be able to speak your language.
Okay.
So,
anyway.
in Czech private chat. When you look at okay, I'm gonna put. Can you copy? No, copy the second one. Second one, not the first. And we can put that up and just put it with his name. We call him Ray the Insurance Man.
Ray the Insurance Man.
Ray the Beard, the Insurance Man.
Ray the Bearded Insurance Man.
Yeah, he'll get you debt benefits as long as his beard.
There you go. So hey, she just gave you a promo.
Formerly
known as Ask the White Guy.
Yeah, I forgot we did that segment.
Yeah, that's right.
I totally forgot about that. That was my idea too. Hey, shit. Okay, so what would I'm thinking about me, like like I love the idea of like, so for me, I'm gonna tell you what I would want to do if I were really to be really into this idea. I would want to, my concern is, as this person, I'm like, fuck them kids. Them kids my brothers and my sisters are gonna be Hunger Gaming it out for my money. That's how I feel. But I would like to have a opportunity. Yeah, just have it at the bottom. Yeah, I would like to have an opportunity to, if something were to happen to me, like cancer is prevalent in our family. Thank God it's not, but it hasn't affected my immediate family. But I've lost a few aunts and uncle to cancer and strokes and like death is gonna come for us all. But sometimes you can survive it, and the worst thing is not dying. The worst thing is surviving it and mounting bills. Yeah. So I would like to have a policy.
Y'all. Cat food.
That's not my goal. I don't want to be cat food.
Go see the episode of Good Times.
Yes. No, nobody want that. And then my cat's gonna be looking at me eating beside them, pushing them out the way.
You don't want to be the disappointed mom on Squid Games.
No.
Oh, damn. Poor mom. Oh, deadbeat ass daddy. So that's what I'd be interested in having, huh? No, his daughter. He's a deadbeat daddy.
Oh yeah. I forgot. Yeah.
That would be what I'd be interested in, is hedging my bets so I can have something to borrow against, or to pay out, because I could borrow against my life insurance policy. I mean, against the UL. Correct.
Okay.
See, look, I remember. You didn't think I remember?
There is a a term that we're not allowed to use within the insurance industry, but it starts with self and ends in ing.
Pleasure. Oh.
Dealing.
Do. Sorry, what was it? Oh, sorry.
The banking world got mad about it. We'll say that.
Okay.
Self.
So,
okay.
I'm not allowed to say it, especially like in this capacity. And behind closed doors, I could tell you, but banking people don't like it.
Well, and that's fine. But so what would you recommend to somebody like me in regards to that? Someone I can borrow against it, or I can take out.
I would actually, for your situation, I would say, what diagnoses are you concerned about? And then from there, wait. It's a multi-question thing. It's what diagnoses are you concerned about, and how much money do those diagnoses require, and do you have any insurance to go with it? Because if the previous agent that I spoke on, she had she had health insurance, but she didn't have enough, and she was able to supplement her her health insurance with the death benefit of using her accelerate or her living benefits. So it would be a multifaceted question. So for like you, do you have health insurance? Yes. What do the diagnoses cost? That's like the unknown for this certain conversation, which would require us to do a little bit of research. And then we would say, okay, so we're looking at $250,000 is what the cancer situation would look at. Now, with the $250K, how much is your health insurance going to cover? Okay, cool. Now that we know that number, we'll deduct that off of the
$5 in a Rolo.
There you go. So from there, we can actually facilitate the number, and then we can say, okay, that's the target number we're going for.
Got it.
Feel like a Twix.
No, they got Twix is too much.
Yeah.
that's hard. You're gonna get this caramel.
Twix is better because you can leave one to somebody else, and here you go.
Hey!
Y'all fight over it now.
Okay.
Or get an extra large, the extra large Reese's cup. So now you got 4 people.
Yeah.
Boom. I will say, like, I was talking to Ray, and like y'all know I had that surgery. Anything could have gone wrong during the surgery, and this would have been an optimal time to have insurance, like I keep saying IRL,
but
IUL,
because IRL is that website stuff. IUL.
Big shout out to Bobby though. Bobby's clutch. Appreciate what he did in Cali.
Oh Lord. Oh yeah. Shout out to Bobby. Oh, you talking about him taking care of me? Yes.
Yeah.
My Bobby took care of me.
Bobby was clutch on that.
Yes.
Thank you, Bobby, from the show.
See,
so not from the family.
Well, I mean the family too, but she's here right now, so
Oh, from the
the rest of the family has to send their congratulations.
Yeah. My mom, if my mom didn't send you, a text message saying glory at the beginning and the end,
it's not from her.
I gotta get it's not for her, and I gotta get on her because she didn't do what she's supposed to do. You see.
So funny story. My brother. So I was on drugs, recovering, right? And Bobby's like, "Hey, Nicole, I have a question." And it's like, "Whoa!" I said, "What's going on?" Like, "I'm fine." And I'm like, "What's going on?" And he said, "No, that's not it." He said, "Why does your mom put glory before and after her sentences?" I was like, "Oh, you got it. You're in the family."
Okay, she got it. Oh, I didn't know.
He got it. He got it because she was texting. Right. He was texting her.
Okay, cool. All right.
But that kind of thing would have been those kind of moments. And nobody knew COVID was coming, right? But now we know that every time I turn on the news, it's a new iteration of COVID. Every time I turn on the news, there's a new thing happening. Oh, are you concerned about COVID? Hold on, there's more.
My term for respiratory HIV. So there's a coin.
Yeah. Where you gotta ask, when you go on a date, you gotta ask them to wear a mask and a condom.
Yeah, both of them. Both of them.
Both of them. So. Like, I think it's very interesting a conversation, and one I'm actually, I'm gonna talk. We've talked. He's been talking to me about doing it, but in my mind, I really want to do this Hunger Games situation with my family and see what happens, see who has the heart. But outside of that,
he wants to have a Lawton version of Squid Games.
There you go, Lawton Squid Games.
Ooh, we can have the Okay, so back in the day, we used to have hood games because we didn't have video games growing up because we was poor.
We played Jesus.
That's why you're not my will. And that's why you're not my will, because of shit like that. Okay, that's why you're not my will. Like everybody's gonna think Katrina kids are my favorite. I'm like, y'all are right, because y'all shitty, both of y'all. And I'm gonna put my will, and they're gonna be reading it. They're gonna be like, and
but Jesus love you.
To her older brothers, Willie and Michael. She leaves you the Jesus game. F y'all, eat my asshole. That's what's gonna happen.
It'll be on the little screen, on a little monitor and everything, and the lawyer be sitting there. She sent this.
That would be something I would do. I have a sixth sense of humor. Oh, and side note, he does that too, by the way.
Does what?
I don't even want to tell you, because now you know.
Okay.
Then you'll know, and you'll always know you do it.
Yeah. Okay.
After every time Nicole laughs, watch this on the podcast for everybody else. After every time Nicole laughs and has a good laugh, she's like, ha ha ha.
Yeah.
It's like the end of the sentence.
Yeah, you have to get
like
it.
cleanse the palate.
Laughter is good for the soul.
Yeah, it's good for
So
it's like
just get your soul.
exhale. We have a question. We're not gonna ask the Willie question and the other question, but if you scroll up a little bit, Willie, we do have a question for you. Right?
I don't know. Pharaoh's up here.
But still it's still a question.
But yeah, it's a good question.
All right. What advice would you give to those who? I need to see it from here. You gotta take it off because I can't read it from there. What advice would you give to those who want to begin their property journey but don't have the privilege of being with mom and dad? I would say, and I'll let Ray say his thoughts, and I actually would let him relate it towards what we're talking about, the IUL. Property journey. Here's the thing: you have to get your money saved to be able to purchase properties. Right now, the price of property is so goddamn high.
It's real high. The first deal with your credit first. Get your credit together.
No. That's not even my first advice.
Simultaneously.
No, you can buy houses cash. You can fix your credit later.
Okay. I mean, if you got the money to do cash, yeah.
Really?
No, but that's what I'm saying. Save your money, because if you're gonna put your money somewhere, why would I pay this bill when I can put it on the side and put it to buying a house out? Huh?
Nicole can buy houses cash.
Yeah, she can buy house cash. I'm talking for the regular folks.
No, but what
y'all
I'm
regular
saying,
people out here.
My very first house was $32,000.
Okay, but that's ain't doing that no more.
But what I'm saying is, paying that bill ain't doing it either.
I agree.
If you can find, if you like, the bank's gonna fund you what you got, and if you ain't got it, you ain't got it no matter what.
No matter what.
My thing is this: this is the time where you have to start making hard decisions. I put money on the side. My time. There was a point between 25 to 28. I had no life. All I did was work. I was working well over a 72-hour work week. And that's because I was trying to create the next step. I had this investment company in my mind, and I wanted to buy these properties. I want to do this stuff. And I'm not saying you got to do that, but I'm saying you have to figure out what you want to sacrifice and put it on the side and don't touch it. It ain't your money. You just bought a car. Did you pay off your car note? Take that money after you pay. Daddy, this is one of daddyisms. You bought a car, you finished paying your car note off. All right, take a savings account, put it off to the side, pay yourself that car note
every month.
So time out. Once she gets done doing all that, how you can do it and invest on it, I got a different answer that requires like $1,000. So go ahead.
Okay. And you gonna flip it?
Oh shit. In them streets. I'm in them streets.
No, I'm gonna tell you how to do real estate with the $1,000. So you be all right.
Don't go to the casino, y'all. Don't be stupid. But put it on the side. Like
my own fans, okay.
Start an OnlyFans.
Start an OnlyFans.
Here's the thing: if you're really trying to get into the real estate investment situation, get another job. Get a part-time job and let that part-time job money just be towards that. You got to be willing to sacrifice to gain
financial
something.
discipline. It's gonna take financial discipline.
Yes, and I ain't saying it's easy, because after I had that property. After I bought that property, I had to fix that property. That first property was a fucking nightmare. Fucking nightmare.
32,000. So
but the property I bought with the real estate investment company that you invested in, that paid out well, and that was just 44.
Okay, I didn't know it was that cheap.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Y'all paid out but it took me banging my head up against the wall with the first property and learn these lessons and whatever, and to get to a point where I was able to start my business right. Like that first property was mine and my mistakes and my funds and my money to learn from, so I wouldn't have to do it with anybody else's. So that's what I would say to you, mom and dad. I don't come from a situation where, my dad would try to give the like, he's retired and he's sitting here talking about trying to get I was talking about the oldest is graduating and trying to get a car and see if we can find a car and stuff so she can have something. And like, it'd be nice if we could get all the kids as they come up a car. So they have something and they're not just like, we're not giving them deficit. We're not giving them debt. We're not getting them this, so I'm trying to set this stuff up. And my dad's like, well, let me know what I can contribute. Sit down. You're retired.
Live your life.
At a certain point,
you work too hard. Yeah, you work all this time.
Yes, and at a certain point, but that being said, he's still trying to give his generational wealth that he can give. So that's my advice. I'm gonna stop talking and let Ray say.
My advice would be go to your local county and get their water shutoff report. You're going to get a report that says, depending upon your county, you're in Fulton County, you're going to have like 1,000 names and phone numbers and addresses, right? Typically no phone numbers, but addresses. You can either cold call, you can knock, or whatever you need to do to every line on that. And then you ask those people how much, or like, first off, do you own the home? And if they own the home, then it goes on to the next capacity. If they don't own the home, then just leave it alone, because you want to deal with a homeowner. So if the person is living in the home and they have a water shutoff that's pending, that also is indicative that they're probably not paying their mortgage. So I would look at how long, because you can go to Google, you can go to Zillow, and then you can type in the address and you can look and see when the last time that house was purchased and sold. So if they've had that house for 10 years, they have equity in that home. That also means that they have probably a lower, monthly rate and everything else. But then you can just literally ask them, like, hey, look, I sell houses and I have a buyer's list. How much would you sell your home for right now? So let's say they say, I went to high school in Mississippi, so bear with me on the numbers, okay? So
4/5.
Let's say they bought the house for $100,000, and they've had it for 15 years on a 30-year loan, and they basically paid off half of it. So this is, again, astronomically simple numbers. So they owe $50,000 on the loan. The house they bought it for was $100 at the time. It's now worth $150, but they owe $50 on it, but they're already fallen behind on their mortgage, and the bank is on their ass. So now you have a unique situation, which is called a motivated seller. So you ask them, how much would you like to sell your home for? And they're like, you know what? I would like to sell it for $100. Okay, cool. Can I inventory like what needs to be fixed on the home? Because my investors who are going to buy your home for cash want to know what's wrong with it. So you then do, a quick little rundown as far as like an inventory of what needs to be fixed and how much it's going to cost. At which time you can go to OfferUp, you can go to Craigslist, you can go to all kinds of different marketplace on Facebook, and you can say, hey, look, I have a home. Don't list the address, because then you'll have people that just go straight to the source. Like, hey, look, I have a home that retails at, and I'm using non-industry standard terminology for real estate, but I have a home that retails for $150. And let's say that home needed $10,000 worth of repairs. They wanted $100 for it, but you tell them, hey, look, the repairs are going to cost $10,000. Can I give you 90? And they'll be like, yeah, okay, cool. So at which time you then advertise, hey, look, I got a $150,000 home that I will sell for $110, but it has a $10,000 repair cost. So an investor sees a $150,000 home that they're able to get for basically 120. So they come in for 110 grand. You take them to a title company, and at which time the title company does all of the paperwork. You do what's called a double closing. You bring in the person with money. The person, they give the money to the title company, which is a third-party escrow type of service. So that way, in industry people that they do this isn't unheard of for them. They give money to title companies all the time, because if nothing happens, they give it right back. So it's a safe avenue for them. But from there, they leave. Then you bring in the seller. The seller gets their $90,000. They leave. The other person comes back in. They now get the paperwork to own the home. The title company that's doing the escrow service, they take their fee out, which is usually $500 to $1,500, and any money that's left over goes to you. And all you did was, how much money did I talk about right there? None.
I think you had 20.
So
Yeah,
about
you cost
20,000,
nothing.
right about 20,000.
No, you paid nothing.
In that capacity, I didn't spend any money in that capacity. I used Marketplace, Craigslist, and OfferUp to advertise myself to buyers. And then once you have buyers, you'll also start to meet other buyers. I've been in Vegas 6 months, and I've already got a buyers list of like 25 people. And then I haven't moved a single house, but it's just networking.
Yeah, networking
and then getting that list and running that list. For me, it's more of a people are in a shitty situation and taking advantage of their shitty situation. It is what it is. It's one of those pillow tests for me that I don't deal with it. I can make a lot of money doing it. But
that's what I was about to say. I think that wouldn't that be an ethical situation for you? Because ethically speaking,
I don't. This concept is called wholesaling when it comes to homes. So you can wholesale homes at no cost, and that specifically goes to what he was talking about, without having the privilege and bank from mom and dad. Not all of us are able to borrow a $1 million, a small $1 million loan from our dad. You know what I mean? So.
But no, I'm not saying what you did was a bad idea. I'm just saying, for people who are listening, ethically speaking, I can see the ethical dilemma behind that, because this is the thing. We're talking about a market that it's a buyer's market. So that person who lived in their house for forever will have to move to an apartment
and can't get nothing else. They
won't be able to get back in the.
No.
But I don't feel like they should.
They shouldn't either,
because they're not financially in a place where they couldn't afford it. It was going to happen to them anyway. So if you can help them help themselves, so the bank doesn't take it over and they get nothing out of the deal.
They get nothing. The bank takes it over. They get nothing.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. So I mean, I'm just saying, like, it sounds ethically bad, but at the same time, I'm a realist.
Yeah.
And if you're already behind your mortgage, yeah. I mean, that happened when I bought my first property. There was a person to the left of me and the person to the right of me. The person to the left of me, family home, grandparents had it, passed it, generation down, and they lost the home. They ended up losing it and selling it to somebody else, and that somebody else rented it to them for $1,400 a month. Wow. I paid $35,000 for my house.
Wow.
So your ROI was pretty much less than 4 years.
Yes.
Yeah. Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's a shame.
Wow,
and then the other person next to me, who was going through foreclosure and stuff like that, because she's like, well, they were giving me money for my house. I said, they didn't give you anything. No. What you did was take a line of equity credit on your house.
Out of your own. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
You shot yourself in the foot.
Exactly.
Did they? And I tried to have them go through their stuff to see if I can help them, but people don't want you in their business. So
so they rather their ego versus getting real help and doing something about it.
Yes. So, but I mean, both of those are viable. I think that requires a lot of legwork, and if you have the energy and time, if you have the tenacity, I think it's a great idea.
I'll put it this way: the other capacity that people do this in, which costs money, is every time you're at a red light and you see that that eyesore sign that says "We buy houses cash," that's what that person is doing. They're wholesalers, so they're. The person's coming from work, they're stressed out, and then they see that sign and they know they're behind. They're like, oh shit, let me go ahead and the person who put that sign there isn't actually buying houses.
No.
They're the middleman that's running the same play that I just told you. When you see it on a billboard that I buy houses cash, that's somebody who's been doing it well enough that they actually got a billboard for this shit now. So it's just wholesaling. It's and then outside of the water supply list, there's so many different other methods of locating people in this capacity. I know of people that literally follow obituaries, and then within 45 days, they're sending postcards to the addresses of the surviving person, because now it's like, I don't want to be here. Like, all of my memories are with this person here. You talk about preying on people, like the unethical aspect. It's like, damn. So it is what it is.
And the thing is, somebody's going to profit off of misery. Somebody's going to do it, no matter what happens. You know, can you live with yourself, like you were saying, if you're the person to do it?
I don't necessarily feel like, I mean, maybe I'm an optimist in that regards when it comes to real estate, because it's just like, you remember the other house I had, the trap house? No, the crack house is the crack house. The first house was, both of them were Baltimore houses. Okay. I had the trap house and the crack house. My first
West Side, Baltimore.
And luckily, the first house I got, I didn't lose any money on. I lived there, I worked and whatever. So it was like, I'd had to pay rent. In fact, I'd argue I made money off of it.
Because you had to pay rent. So
I didn't pay rent anywhere, and I got the money for the value of the house and all the updates I made. I made that money back. So that one was good. But I had the crack house I affectionately termed, because the crack house never would let me fix it, because it was a crack house. I kept getting robbed. Just
it had the bad stigma behind it. So
yeah. Every time I left, I expected a note saying, "You knew what this was." Like, that's
run the pocket.
Yeah. I can't wait to see what we get for Christmas next year. So I sold that one, but I did the wholesale situation where I was like, all right, well, there's a property I heard about, where I advocated like I wasn't the seller.
You wasn't the seller.
And I found it, because there are people. Look, here's my thing. And there are cultures that work so well together, right? In this case, in Baltimore, there's a huge Spanish population, right? A family of people get together, buy a property, fix it up, live in it. And it's not even the same family. It's like just Spanish people. It's like, you habla español? Sí habla español. Boom. Work together, fix the properties up, live in the properties, to sell the property. While they're doing that, they're buying another property to fix it up, to do it. And that's what they're creating their wealth that way. And it's like, that's a dope idea.
Yeah, no, it's awesome, but we can't do it.
Yeah. But, I mean, well, it requires having a skill set.
You better get out of your house by 18 with no plan.
Yes, that's a different conversation, and actually an important conversation, because I used to be one of those people who believed, kick the kid out, let that kid learn some shit. Then I realized, no, that's not in their benefit. But also, if you don't kick that kid out, like, I think that's a different discussion, and it's layered.
It's multi-layered, a bunch of layers to that.
Yeah,
because you have to be, that kid has to be willing to take advice from you while they're staying there.
Well, the parent has to be willing to understand that they are working with, you know what I mean? Like, it's multi, like, what the parent has to be in a position where they understand us working together, right? And you have some parents, unfortunately, who are like, give me money.
Yeah, run me money. But I'm saying, but the kid has to understand the bigger picture. You have to make the kid understand the bigger picture.
But I think the kid would, if you taught him, if you have the values of, like, because sometimes some parents are, do as I say, listen to me, do these things, and they're not teaching them why. They're not teaching them like what's happening, what's going on. This is what we're going to do. We're going to band together. We're going to do this. And I'm not saying culturally, we all have our things culturally, right? Because the Spanish population also has a very big alcohol problem.
Bless you. 12 beers when they come.
You want to laugh, Willie?
What?
I was asking Willie if he wants to laugh.
Yeah, sure. The
woman with no kids just told you what kids would understand and wouldn't understand.
Because I was a kid.
Yes.
Okay, I do understand that. And what I'm saying, as a kid,
10 years ago.
So as a kid, I don't remember.
Was she a normal kid, Willie?
Was she what?
Was she a normal kid?
Nah, she wasn't.
So she's basing her non-normal aspect of understanding and perspective on what other kids would know and understand.
We ain't got no kids either. Shut up.
And I ain't gonna speak training either.
Parents are parents. Okay, they lose what it takes to be a kid because they turn into parents. All right, what I'm telling them is
Casey Anthony if parents are parents.
Oh wow! Oh Jesus! Oh God! Oh God! No, that's not that word. Yeah, wow.
Parents are parents.
No, it could have get darker than that.
Daycare.
You could have said ask the kids, but no. I'm sorry, y'all.
Nobody.
But that's my point, though. That's exactly my point. There are people who are unfit.
Yeah.
To do. So we're saying this whole banding together, working together, don't kick your kids out. Sometimes the best thing you could do is kick your kid out because you're awful.
Yeah.
And that kid needs to survive, right? So that's what I'm trying to say from that standpoint. Not saying like if y'all can band together, like vocational school is a great idea, especially now.
Yeah. Because
the market is changing. You have homes that are being built by 3D printing. But the inside components still need to be fixed. Plumbing, electrical, that kind of stuff, roofing, and that kind of stuff. So you still like those kind of things. And then the job market, you put out an article about the market and the different jobs that are going to be obsolete in this future. Like it's stuff like that. You have to stay ahead of it. And if you notice what happens, everything happens in cycles, right?
The baby boom is about to die off. So the people that used to do this stuff, they're going to be gone. So you have to have another big wave of kids learning this type of stuff. And they will be the ones that make money because things are expensive. They're the ones that are going to be making a lot of money. So to put your kids in 4-year colleges, and create debt for yourself it's not really the way that you should be going.
Another business student.
What?
It's shade against business students.
Oh, you said it. Yeah, another business. Oh, you use business student?
I start college tomorrow at the age of 39.
Oh well, congratulations!
In a business degree for digital marketing. Yay! Full sale. Let's go.
So like,
after we get done with this, I'm finishing my student orientation. By the way.
Oh, well, thank you for spending time and educating people. But if you look at it, the 70s going into the 80s, there was a big boom that happened in the engineering field. This is why I know this. This is what started the conversation. There's a bunch of jobs that went under. Engineering was one of them, where all these engineers who had all these great degrees from all these Ivy League universities could not find a job to save their lives, and they ended up doing taxi work and all kind of other stuff. And you know what jobs were booming? Carpenters and that kind of plumbers and that kind of. And then there was a point in the 80s where the market was saturated and there wasn't enough white collar workers. So they started pushing white collar stuff. And then it went back down, and then STEM became hot. And then it's it's an ebb and flow, and you got to stay on top of the ebb and the flow.
Yeah, you can't be behind the curve. You have to be above the curve and figure out what's going on.
Yep.
To make money at least.
I remember I had a friend of mine, the saddest thing. Sorry.
She gonna laugh at talking about the saddest.
Woo! We got a good one.
A third one.
Because I'm going to hell for this one. Because I was sitting here like, now, okay, this is why I can laugh. Because I told you. Okay.
You.
Huh?
You said cocaine not safe around you.
No.
So, okay, funny story.
Booger sugar.
I was out this weekend. I was with a friend. And we went to an event. It was like a hippie event, right? Kind of stuff, right? And I had I was sleep. You know how? Well, I don't know if you don't sleep. If I don't sleep at least 7 hours, I start getting like sinus, like my nose starts to run, kind of stuff. Like I get sick. I get like head colds. So I'm sitting there at the place. You see my nails? So I'm sitting at the place and I'm sitting here trying, because I was up. Like I was acting like I was young again. That's how much I was going out and just dancing and the whole nine, right? Because I'm past my 6 weeks. I'm out dancing. So I was rubbing my nose a lot and whatever, right? So I was like, trying because I was in my mind. I keep thinking that I got boogers
stuff
in my nose. That's what I think. And
because it's drained post nasal drip.
Yes. So somebody came up to me and was like, "Where the party at?" And I was like, "It's right here." No, understand. I'm missing it.
Yeah,
so I'm like, right here.
They're looking for the white girl.
Dance? Let's go dance. And it was like,
I need to be on your level. Where's the party? The party.
Well, no, they did. They did this. They said, they just
the party,
did this. It's like, oh, I see you. And I was like, no.
Like, I have allergies.
I don't think they believe me.
No,
though.
they probably didn't. You was keeping it all yourself.
Yeah, selfish. Like, but I was like, oh my God, because I'm sitting here like, I'm sitting here like the party right here is right behind you. Like, there's the music, there's the DJ.
Like that saying, I don't like cocaine. I don't like cocaine. I just appreciate the way it smells.
Yeah.
How do we get to generational the cocaine?
The cocaine, yeah.
Cocaine. This show.
The 80s. We went to the 80s. So
yeah.
88. Hey, cocaine.
Full circle. But yeah, it's those kind of things. I like this discussion. Even though we talked about cocaine.
It used to be generational wealth back in the day. That's how a lot of people.
That's called the good old days.
Cocaine cowboys.
That's called the good old days where everybody had Maseratis.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure the Escobar family appreciated the generational wealth.
Yes. Yeah, they do.
Never mind. Anyway.
Yeah, don't get us all shot.
Yeah, see, we stayed within the realm of the topic, though. See how
I was wondering why. No, I was gonna say why. I was like, they just couldn't figure out how to get cocaine on the S&P. That's the only reason. Like,
because it's legal.
What's the S&P?
NASDAQ
stock market.
Oh, I was thinking like ship.
No, well, they had it on the ships, the planes too, the S&P, the
planes,
ships and the planes,
and automobiles,
they had everything. It was all over.
Ships, motors, and planes.
Mm-hmm.
I had to burp. Sorry.
Hope everything came out all right.
Yeah. I didn't taste it or anything.
No kids were.
No kids were harmed in that burp.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all are gross. Okay, well, y'all are gross. Anyway, so
don't support that.
Thank you, Ray, for joining us to discuss this. At the bottom is his email address. He did give us his number, but I'm like, nah. I want to reach out.
You might get a call to ask you about how long you're.
Yeah, how long?
Yeah. So you just have to read the email. You won't have to get the actual call.
Nobody wants to see the second beard, anyways. I mean, come on. No.
What'd you say?
So inside joke. I had been, because of my work and because of my wife's work, we had been separated for months at that time. You can imagine the Army, you're deployed for a year sometimes. But as I was just joking, and my wife had been gone for like 4 months. She was working on some taxes and stuff like that out of state. And somebody at work had said something about, like, oh, now, she hasn't been around for so long. You haven't gotten none in a while. And I was like, yeah, nobody wants to see the second beard anyways. And they were like, Jesus, Ray, you just killed the whole vibe in the room. And everybody left. It was like, we were at lunch.
It's the 70s.
We're only about halfway through lunch, and then you just see people like, I'm no longer hungry.
That's hilarious.
I just imagine Ray with his second beard. And like, oh God.
Yeah. Any other questions you have for him while we have the IUL guy?
IUL. No. I mean, I'll ask him some questions later on, at a later date. Personal.
I don't mean, because people might want to know what the answer to him is.
You mean for yourself?
Yeah, for myself personally.
So he's going to be reaching out to you.
Yeah, I'll be reaching out to him. I mean,
that's what he said.
As far as I wish
you see the benefit.
Yeah, I see. Yeah, I see the benefit.
I will say
some other people like
put
questions. Ask questions because I mean this is very informative.
I will say that the funny part about this for me is I have not been targeting people who don't have insurance, so to speak. Because most people don't realize they're like, oh, I've got life insurance, I'm good. And they're like, I'm good. And I'm like, wait, time out. Because living benefits in the insurance world is such a new thing in that industry that I think it's somewhere in the tune of like 280 million policies that are in effect don't have living benefits added to it. And the company that I work with, they add it to the policy for free. So it's where, from what I understand and what I've been able to see, a lot of other companies, they may have it, but they're charging extra monthly, and then it's substantial. And then on top of that, for the ones who are like the company I'm working with that offer it for free, they offer it with a lot of limitations. Like the company I'm with, COVID is covered. Many other companies that I've been able to see, and I can't speak on them specifically, COVID is not included. So what I tell people is like, hey, let's look at the policy you already have. And then if I can keep you, I mean, from your perspective, let's say you're spending $250 a month, which is for some people not a lot, but for some people is unreasonable. But let's just say you're spending $250 a month and you've got $250,000 worth of, coverage. Honestly, that'd probably be more like 500,000.
Yeah, it'd be 500.
Yeah. So let's say that you got like $500,000 worth of coverage, but you have no living benefits. Now I show you for the same price, I can get you in at 465,000, but I'm adding living benefits to your portfolio now.
Oh, that'd be.
Now you're like, okay, do I wanna or do I not wanna? So it's comparable. You might be losing a little bit on your death benefit because age is a significant factor when your death benefit is calculated. So if you've had your policy 2, 3, 5 years, your death benefit might be lower, but you're adding on this other aspect of being able to utilize it while you're still alive. So what is that worth to you is what it has to be asked to the person who's interpreting that question. So, and that's kind of like what I'm looking at is taking people who already really understand the value of it and then converting them into a better product. They may lose a little bit because of the death benefit because of the age, but they're adding a substantial amount of value based on the living benefits aspect. A lot of other people had no idea what an IUL was and how they previously were kind of structured not so well. And now that, now that the industry has changed a lot, the way that they're structured is a lot better for the user. It's like, let me just show you what this other thing is. Because unfortunately, more people learn in mass forms about what insurance is in this capacity than if I spend 4 hours talking to somebody who doesn't have insurance at all. And they're like, what? Like, why? So you want me to take the budget that I already am stretching and then insert a new bill?
Yes.
And you can show and present value to people, but when they only have $103 at the end of the month, they're not getting the value out of changing the next generation. They're trying to survive as it is. So
and understanding that great. Understanding that is important. However,
so I speak to masses to try and get new people on, and I will spend all day with one person if it needs be. But it seems to be the people that are more interested in this are the people who already have it.
Yeah.
I do have a question. So do you have to be licensed in each state to provide
so
it?
What I do, case in point, my home, or what they call resident license, is in the state of Nevada.
Okay.
Now, let's say, you wanted to talk about numbers and everything in the state of Georgia. I will run you all the illustrations for you, absolutely free, and show you what they'll do.
Okay.
And then if you say, you know what, I really want to pull the trigger on this, I'll give you two options. You can go deal with somebody else, and you can take the illustration that I gave you and, find an agent that can service you right now. Or if you allow me, let me go online, apply for a non-resident license, get licensed in your state, and then I will do it for you. Sometimes it can take 3 to 10 business days. But for people who want it right now, like, look, take my illustration, give it to somebody else who's an agent in your state. It's not going to hurt my feelings. But at the same time, I would appreciate it, obviously, but
because you did the work. I mean,
exactly. So with that, I can work in pretty much every state. I just need to know whether somebody's serious enough or not, because like the state of Georgia is like $150, which, I mean, for all intents and purposes is a drop in the bucket, but you don't want to just get a license in a state hoping that you might get somebody there. You know what I mean? It doesn't make sense.
If somebody gets insurance, if somebody gets an IUL, and like in that example, the $50 a month one, and then they get a better job later on, and they can afford more, can they switch it out?
You don't even have to. So let me tell you more about why. So the person that you saw me working that process for, she's doing $100 a month, not 50, but $100 a month. And she was like, Ray, show me what $200 a month gets me. And when she saw what $200 a month got her, she was like excited, because she was like, wow, those numbers really start to open up and, like, you know, gain momentum. You know what I mean? From the compound interest aspect. And she's like, you know what, though? With her lifestyle and situation, she's going back to school over the next couple of years. And she's got some good money in savings and everything. But she's like, you know what, though? I don't know, that my $200 a month might stretch me a little far. And I'm like, look, my commission is based off of what you pay annually. So at $1,200 a year, that's what my commission is going to be based off of. If you bump it to $200 a month, thank you. You're helping me out. However, there's this thing, kind of like with 401ks, it's different terminology. But with a 401k, you're only allowed to put in a certain amount a year.
Yeah.
And when you establish your account, like with hers, she established it at $100 a month, but her cap was $4,000 a year.
Okay.
So I'm like, look, lock yourself in at 100. It's going to hurt my commission more than it's going to hurt you. But in the long run, if you come into more money, you can add up to $4,000 a year, which is basically almost 3.5 times what you're paying now, which would be like $325 to $350 approximately. So lock yourself in at the lower rate. It's only really going to hurt my commission, but you're securing yourself in a long-term aspect to make sure that you're going to be able to make sure that your policy is in force. And that's what she actually went with. So instead of, you know, stressing herself at $200 a month, she chose the 100, gives her a little breathing room. And if her circumstances change, she can add up to, and it's called a MEC rate. And she can max out her MEC if she wants to. And if she wants to change and add more than the MEC is allowing because her circumstances change that much, then we can redo a policy then.
Okay.
But no need to if you don't have to.
All right. Well, I just wanted to make sure that was understood. Like, if you, you know, if you're a kid,
there's even like let's say you got like $10,000 in cash value that's been built up over like 5 to 10 years, and you got $50,000 worth of coverage or something. Again, simple numbers, and all of a sudden your circumstances change again, but for the worse, and now you can't make monthly payments. Well, there's another accessory that you can choose to add to your policy, which I think is like $2 a month for most cases or something. It's very minute considering the circumstances of the cost. But what it says is, in the event that you're not able to make your monthly payment, we'll pull it from your cash value until you're able to. So that way your policy stays in force. So the cash value will start to trickle down a little bit, but your policy for death benefit is going to stay in force for X amount of time until cash value is depleted. But in that example, you're looking at like 8 years that you wouldn't have to make a payment on it. while still maintaining the same death benefit.
Okay. All right. Well, that's good information.
So circumstances can change both directions, and both directions can be established and set up for success.
Not my circumstances, because the Lord I serve is real.
Yes.
Cat's gonna slice her throat in her sleep if she ever leave again.
No, they're gonna hover at the one of the stairs so I don't see him and trip over the stairs and fall.
So you're gonna wake up and be like,
what is it, The Conjuring?
Yeah, you can steal her breath.
Sometimes I be feeling like so that's good. The reason why I said it, like $100 a month policy, $50 a month policy, I understand. I understand like $50 might be too much for some people, but if you can make it work, the cash benefit is enough.
Just think about if you have children. It's, I mean,
fuck them kids.
Okay.
The cash benefit part is enough.
It is.
Like you're paying yourself.
Yes, but I'm just saying.
I ran an illustration on a friend of mine whose child is not born yet, and was like, look, at the age of 0, between 0 and 1, like say you started this policy on them at like six months, at $50 a month, and you paid that $50 all the way out to like 18 years. And then just left it alone after that, they had something like $200,000 to $300,000 when that child turned like, I think it was like 50 to 55 years old. You're not talking about astronomical impact of money, but you're talking about, like, Willie, how old are you right now?
40.
Old.
So at the age of 50, if somebody turned around and handed you a check for $250,000 that said, hey, look, you can either take this $250,000 check right now, or you can take $15,000 tax-free income for the rest of your life on every January. I mean, it gives you options.
Yeah, give you a lot of options.
You can
you can pay off your house and then change your whole situation.
Right. So,
this can be linked with other things. Keep in mind, you're talking about, like, most people, you own your house. I own my house. If some mystical kid appears one day,
baby Jesus.
Like, we already got the house component of things, right?
Yeah.
Like, and you already have that one thing under your belt, and now you're talking about the IUL, which is paying out for death benefits, and it has the bonus component addition to it. All of these little things build generational wealth.
Yeah.
Because now your kid has the death benefit that they can move over to their own IUL, and they have the house that they're living in. They can take some money out, pay the property tax for the property that's paid off, because 30 years of your life is spent paying this off. People don't take no equity mortgage loan. Anyway,
I have a unique situation, for my own personal life.
Does it itch or burn? Which one?
Thankfully, no. I was medically retired from the Army at the age of 33. And for all intents and purposes, the being retired from the military with the capacity of which I have has left me in a financial situation where, quote unquote, I'm not rich, but I have the ability to say fuck off.
Okay.
And
which is a great thing to have.
That right there, that thing that I have, that the ability to move left or right how I want to, because of my financial income that's coming in on the first of the month, every month, has literally given me the ability to look at employers and say, if you don't make substantial change that's in the ethical right direction, I'm out. I literally worked for another nonprofit while in Afghanistan, making about $125,000 a year tax-free, and walked away because it wasn't a right fit.
I need to find that.
Hey.
They only have 3 letters in their name. You can figure it out. But I was having I was having ethical dilemmas with the leadership within the immediate leadership within that company. It wasn't representing the core values that the corporate had. So it was the boots on ground people that were in management at the time. And when I tried to rectify the problems that were being had at that particular time, the middle level leadership was reinforcing the boots on ground leadership. And I was like, well, fuck y'all, I'm out. Because I had that financial ability to not have to go to work and do something I did not believe in and or would not, pillow test. I was not going to sleep well with. The ability to do that.
NFG, just to, just
no
do
fucks
NFG.
given.
There you go. Exactly.
I already knew where he's going. Like, so it's kind of like, imagine if somebody gifted you that ability. That's what this can do. Mm-hmm. Like when people are like, oh yeah, I want to set them up for success. I'm like, but you don't really articulate, people don't articulate it in a capacity where it's like meaningful. Mm-hmm. And when I tell people like, look, in January this year, I went on my 15-year anniversary, went to Vegas. And as I was walking out of the airport, going into Vegas, looked at my wife and said, as a joke, because my work had been, very, let's just say very stressful, and COVID was very stressful, and I wanted to help more people, and it is what it is. But the capacity of everything that was going on, I mean, Nicole can tell you, I was stressed out at work. It is what it is. But I literally just jokingly said to my wife, how about we buy a house in Vegas and we both retire and say, fuck this shit. And she was like, yes. And I was, you said that way too fast. Like, you know what I mean? But then having that capacity and that ability, you can give that ability. That ability is wealth.
True.
And that's what people
freedom.
don't.
I mean, health wise too. It's wealth health wise because you don't have to deal with a lot of stress.
And to maybe overshare a little bit, when I said I went to school in Mississippi, I literally was in the capacity where I was living in a trailer that wasn't even a whole trailer. Like it had running water. It had, the toilet capacity that you could use the bathroom and the shower and all that. But it literally, like the space that when you see these trailers that are being pulled behind by a truck, and that trailer also has like a section above the bed of the truck that's like kind of a rectangle. That was my room for 4 years.
The little mattress part, the little thin mattress part above.
That little thin mattress part was my room for 4 years. And by the age of 33, I'm able to be like, I'm quitting my job at corporate that has benefits, that has 401k, that has dental, that has health, and I'm like, I'm out. And then I'm going to go to school and I'm going to go do this because I have that freedom.
Okay.
My parents didn't give it to me. I had to earn it through military. But imagine being able to give that to your bloodline. Mm-hmm. And people don't, they always think about the money and what it can buy them and the toys and the luxury. But people never really associate it to freedom.
And I'm going to say something that ain't popular. I don't give a shit. Fuck y'all. Okay? I'm trying to help y'all. God damn it. Y'all sitting here buying all these goddamn name brand shit for the kids on their shoes. I'm not saying don't go to Kmart because them shoes fall apart. But
MA1000s, shout out to you. Pay less specials.
Like if you go for
Jordan versus Nike, there's a difference.
Yeah.
Jordache. If you're sitting here spending all this stuff on Christmas and all this stuff on like you're buying stuff. It's that they're not even going to use.
Or they're going to use
it for a moment.
Discard it after a year.
Yes. But just think if you could pay towards their future. Mm-hmm. If you could take that same every Christmas, if you spend $100 on this, on their birthday, if you spend on just buying like a Easter outfit. I'm not saying you got to live like you're in poverty, but I'm saying like have a balance for yourself and say, put this money on the side. Like me personally, if it were me, if I had insurance, they would never. They'd be like, "Are we a Jehovah's Witness, Nicole?" Because I don't give a shit about Christmas. Yeah. I don't give a shit about Christmas. Their birthday, we'll all hang out with family and the whole nine. But I'm not doing this stuff that the other people doing. Because if you want to do what the other people doing, you're gonna get what they got.
And a lot of them are fish plates. GoFundMe.
Yes. Yeah. And if you want to be better, you got to start thinking outside of the box and start realizing that the same traditions hold us back. I understand what they're meant to come from a good place, a place that rooted in love and care. But a lot of stuff, Ike Turner loved Tina.
Okay, that's. Yeah.
I'm more than sure he loved that woman, but he was like, that's what love felt like. Some things we do in the name of love ain't really helping.
It hurts.
Is my point.
Look at AJ Johnson.
Trying to make sure there wasn't no cake around.
Look at eat the cake. AJ Johnson. Look at
AJ
that.
Johnson,
I mean,
the comedian?
the comedian.
Yeah.
His wife was out there on GoFundMe. DMX's wife. Well, it wasn't his wife. His girlfriend.
Significant other.
Yeah, significant other with all the kids he had. His estate don't. I mean, he can't get anything.
That's a different conversation. You gotta talk about marrying the people that.
Yeah, that too.
But, you know, it's a different.
But that's also goes generational well also because
Willie would like
married to that person. The government gets it. That goes straight to the government.
They're gonna get their piece.
They're gonna get all of it. No, they're gonna get all of it if they don't have nobody to leave it to. If you don't have a living will, if you don't have a trust or something like that, it goes to the government.
Well, no, they take their piece. You can still get a part of it, but they take their piece of it because it goes through probate. It goes through probate.
Well, but you have to prove it. You have to go through.
It goes through probate.
Okay.
Probate. That's the whole process of probate. Probate is to figure out who has the direct line to it, right? So,
but that's if kids. That's if you have kids. I'm saying,
but even if you have kids, like, I looked this up. I ain't got no insurance.
Go ahead.
Like, what happens is you go through. This is why I don't advocate for this, and this is why I will be getting. I don't have it yet. A living will. I will be getting a living will regarding that stuff because it goes through probate, and probate will take the next step in. The next step is your parents.
Yeah.
And so
you honestly don't need a marriage license if you have a good living will.
Yeah, you don't need that. Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So
if DMX would have just had a good will, then she wouldn't have had to go fight for all that stuff.
My ex-husband could come up and say he lay claim to some stuff, and that will run up probate.
You want me to take you home, make sure you get home all right, so you know before so you get the living will. I could drive you around. And,
as long as you don't let that person know, because he will try to do that shit, guarantee. He'll all of a sudden, LC, I loved her.
I
loved Dusty.
I loved her. I loved it.
She bought those houses when she was with me. Like, what the fuck? So, fuck. I was doing bullshit. I forgot.
Yeah, she didn't went off track.
But anyway, the moral of the story is this.
You said what?
I almost got a snort off of that comment.
Oh.
Ever. The moral of the story is this: take bites to help get towards a better part of the future of your children. Do it in bite-sized pieces. Having a home, I think I talked about that. Have I ever said my views on whether or not you should buy a home or not?
No, you didn't, but we could do that later.
Okay, we'll talk about that later.
We'll talk about it.
Actually, we're at 2 hours. Oh, shit.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, we'll do that. We'll do another segment on generational wealth when we talk about home ownership and stuff. But this was dope. I enjoyed it. I thought it was helpful. It exposed gaps in my own personal life that I need to get taken care of.
What, having kids?
That's gonna happen because when the good Lord and a busted condom says so.
Oh shit!
You're a survivor.
Hands up.
Kid, you made it out of all of them. And then you made it.
A miracle child.
There's four guys here that showed up out of random, and you expect me to believe that you got pregnant because the Lord said so. Okay.
He's talking about. You ever heard that joke? It's
the four wise men.
I'll tell you. I was about to say I can't say it. You trying to get me ostracized from the church.
Anyway.
But thank you for joining us, Ray.
Appreciate
Always
you.
Dope. Willie, anything?
No. I mean, I hope if you know anybody in this situation, I would like y'all to share this video to your family members because it is good information. Like I said, Ray, the bearded insurance guy, his information is right down there. Can you reach out for any questions? Would you like that?
Yeah, definitely. People can just email me right there with their questions, and the way I've got my phone set up, I'll get the emails immediately. I'll probably respond within 24 hours, and if you have an in-depth question, it may take some research, but I like to learn more stuff about it, so it's cool.
All right. So, like I said, share it with other people because this is something that can help your future. can help you at the same time while you're living, and also help
Mhm.
your future generations. That's something that we as Black people do not focus on. We focus on the here and the now, and satisfying our
Instant
insatiable
gratification.
urges and everything else right now, instead of worrying about the future. So we need to do better about that, and maybe we can
Mhm.
get to the point where we're not dead last and everything.
Mm.
So
Well, I would think so. There was one thing that I was just attending a conference last month.
Mhm.
For the first time, the way it was explained, and I would still have to go research this to verify, but I just appreciated believing it without having to do the research.
Mhm.
But again, in this conference with 5,000 other agents, they reported that 2020 was the first year that people of color, not just the African American community, but people of color,
Mhm.
were the number one purchasing demographic of life insurance for the first time in the
Oh, wow.
history of the United States.
Okay.
2020 was the first year that persons of color were the leading purchaser of life insurance.
So it took an act of God and respiratory HIV to get
When he
us
said,
Black folk.
"Peace be still,"
Then what did
I dropped the phone.
she dropped the phone. To get us to get insurance.
like,
Hey, keep it
the
going,
world
though.
is ending. Let me get life insurance.
Yeah, let's get our insurance. Hey, keep it going though. We got to do this more strategic though. Don't wait for something to happen to want to do something about it.
I even have a strategic. You got 5 more minutes?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, go ahead.
I have a strategic process of how you can have the government pay for this.
Oh. You know what? Hold that thought.
It takes 5 minutes.
You want to walk out the room or something?
No. I'm saying like hold that thought, because I'd like to get in on an individual video. Instead on this one at the end where most people are gone.
What?
Well, fuck it. Never mind.
We can redo it again, and I'll give you the 5-minute version.
Okay, go. All right, go. I can also
5-minute version.
Yeah.
Get an LLC.
Okay.
Once you have an LLC, make sure that it is something that within a hobby that you have.
Mm-hmm.
So let's say video gaming. Okay. So now you got an LLC with your gamer tag as your LLC.
Mm-hmm.
Now everything that you do within gaming is now a tax write-off.
That's right. Mm-hmm.
Let's say you set up a Twitch account. Okay, cool. Let's say that what you're doing is in a room within your home that's 250 square feet. So now that's your home office.
Cool.
Now you put your gamer tag on your car. Now you put your gamer tag on, like all of these other little things. Let's say you get business cards with your gamer tag on it, with your Twitch affiliate link on there.
Mm-hmm.
And then you go out to eat. And every time that you go out to eat, you slide your business card in there and you're advertising to the waiter or waitress to become a follower for your gamer stuff, right?
Uh-huh.
So now you have a viable business, and it's a home-based business. Again, simple numbers. The IRS allows you up to typically 56 to 58 cents per mile that you drive to be able to be deducted off of your mileage for your vehicle. I'm going to use 50 cents as the example.
Okay.
I typically drive about 15,000 miles a year. At 50 cents per mile, that is now $7,500 worth of a tax write-off. If I eat out to the tune of $5,000 a year, I'm now at $12,500 as a tax write-off. If I'm paying $1,000 a month for a 1,000 square foot home and 250 square foot of it I'm using for office space, I'm now having $250 a month as a write-off for my home-based business, which is now approximately $3,000. I have now just given you $15,000 in excess with 3 items just for tax write-offs of your W-2. So whatever your 9 to 5 is, if you have $15,000 worth of taxes, I now just gave you $15,000 back. You can now take the $15,000 and you can fund your IUL and your retirement, and the government just paid for your retirement.
Okay.
So the only thing I will say about that is that's not new information. You have to make sure you document the fuck out of that
all that
information.
stuff. You got to
The
document everything.
IRS will come for you, and they need
Oh yeah,
be able to
proof. Yeah.
cross your T's.
Remember, I said this was the 5-minute version.
No. I mean, but I just had to get my little fine print area. Remember, this is not that nuanced.
Don't be PP loan it.
Yeah,
please don't PP
No.
loan it.
No.
Don't do it.
Right.
Yeah.
17 years. 17 years of jail.
For a million you can't even enjoy.
So with that being said, but now that you understand the concept, most people would rather take the 15 grand and go buy a new car or create a new bill, or it's like, but you could literally take that money, like old girl that I did the $100 policy for, she could max out her mech rate at $4,000 and then utilize the overage to do whatever the hell she wanted with it. You know what I mean?
True.
Yes.
Yeah.
So she could max out that process. So you could literally have the government pay for your retirement.
All right. Thank you, Ray. Thank you for joining us. And thank you for supporting Louisiana cuisine.
Fine Louisiana queen.
Fine Louisiana dining.
Love that chicken for Popeyes.
All right. So stupid. So stupid. All right, everybody. Thanks for joining us. We know this was long, but this is information you need to know. Learn some shit. Use it. Contact them. Help him help you.
It hurts my brain.
Don't shy away from anything that's gonna help you in the future, because we did tend to do that. Oh, this is too hard to, I can't comprehend. Hey, get somebody to reach out to somebody to help you do this. Knowledge is power. Don't want to say the famous words, but it is. Knowledge is power.
Ask a beard.
Yeah,
ask a beard.
Ask
a beard, which means something else in the gay community. But
What?
that's gonna be hilarious. Huh?
Oh God, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Anyway, y'all have a good one. I'll tell you what it is later.
Yeah.
Y'all have a good one.
All right.
Bye.
Bye-bye.